Welcome to Storytimer at Large. Judy Kanter. Judy Kanter graduated from Trotwood Madison High School in Dayton, Ohio in the springtime of 1975. She was 17. When you look at high school yearbooks from those days, you get to see the kids of the baby boomer generation. They are bright and smiling. They all look so nice on picture day. It's so strange to look at these photos and know that some of the boys would grow up to be violent and dangerous, and some of the girls would not grow up at all. In Judy Kanter's yearbook, there's a great photo of her in a play. She's singing, it looks like, and her eyes are looking upward. She looks amazing. There's a star quality about her. In May, Judy graduated with her classmates and likely had a nice party to celebrate. By November of 1975, just 6 months later, Judy was gone. In 1975, she was living at home with her parents, Corinne and William Braden, at 6430 West Anna Drive in Dayton. She had an older sister named Marilyn and a brother named Alan. Their grandmother, Mrs. Ethel Cohen, lived in Dayton as well. Judy was last seen on November 15th, 1975, after leaving work. How terrifying those next days must have been for her family and her friends. The newspaper ran an article in which Judy and other girls were accused of living an unfettered life that led to their violent deaths. The newspapers actually blamed these teen girls for their own murders. The headline was not "Out of Control Violent Men Senselessly Murder 3 Young Women." Nope, it was all about blaming the women for their own deaths. What was so unfettered about walking home from work? That's what Judy was doing when she disappeared. In that article by Clem Hamilton, Judy Kanter is described as a loner. Clem Hamilton saw independence as a terrible trait in the women of 1975. Judy Kanter was working at a restaurant called Bill Knapp's Restaurant on Shiloh Springs Road. That was a chain of restaurants in the Dayton area. Judy's older sister Marilyn had worked there too before heading off to the University of Toledo. Being on the wait staff of Bill Knapp's restaurant was a big deal. There was a stressful 3-month training program, and successful trainees earned a crossed knife and fork pin to wear on their uniforms. They did a lot of advertising and promotional stunts like waitress races, according to a 1978 article. They advertised a lot, and it looks like it was a very popular place to eat. They had 4 locations in the Dayton and Springfield, Ohio areas. The two sisters, Marilyn and Judy, were very close. On November 15, 1975, a friend was supposed to pick Judy up at Bill Knapp's restaurant, but never arrived. Judy began walking home from the restaurant at 5212 Salem Avenue in Trotwood instead. It shouldn't have been a very long walk home. She had probably had to do it before, and nothing went wrong in the times before, except this was nighttime. And in this case, something did go wrong. In the weeks that Judy Kanter was missing, many people reported sightings of her. These sightings were largely discounted by law enforcement. I also tend to doubt these sightings too. Many young women and girls had the same hairstyle then, that long hair parted in the middle, kept very straight. It was just a very popular hairstyle, and it was rare to have anything different in those days. Judy had on her waitress uniform when she disappeared. I wonder if those eyewitnesses saw her in that yellow uniform. But I think the sightings are people wanting to be helpful, knowing someone's disappeared, and maybe they're seeing someone who just looks familiar. 5 days after Judy's disappearance, on November 20th at about 2:30 p.m., Corinne Braden, Judy's mother, got a phone call. I'm sure she jumped every time the phone rang in those days that Judy was missing. The caller was not Judy. It was not the police with news either. The caller merely said, "Your daughter is dead." The caller said it over and over. Corinne thought that he said it about 5 times. He said nothing else, and then he hung up. Who was he? Just a prank caller? Was he actually responsible for Judy's murder? Judy Kanter was found on December 8th, 1975, in the old Plantation Country Club building, which was at that point a ruin, on Salem Bend Drive. It's very close to Bill Knapp's restaurant at 5212 Salem Avenue. And why that was never searched, I don't know. A man and his 12-year-old daughter were there searching the burned-out ruins of the old building for scrap metal to sell. The mid-1970s were very tough times. The economy was in a recession. Unemployment was very high. Millions of people were doing whatever they could to get by. Judy Kanter was found naked. She was sitting with her knees drawn up tightly in a small closet-like cubicle of that ruined building of the country club. Police theorized that 17-year-old Judy had been running from her attacker and had already been shot once in the right shoulder by a shotgun blast as she ran away. Judy found a small place to hide within that building. The fatal shot was nearly point blank to the right side of her head. Her restaurant uniform with her apron was rolled up and was resting on her body. It was reported that that the uniform appeared to be freshly laundered. That may or may not be true. It's hard to imagine a killer gathering up her uniform, taking it home to wash and dry, and then delivering it back to the scene of the crime. This is a senseless killing, and it is the 1970s in Ohio, so all bets are off. Maybe they took it home and washed it. But perhaps the uniform wasn't freshly laundered, but just wasn't blood-stained and dirty, because her killer had forced her to undress before attempting to sexually assault her or sexually assaulting her. She may have managed to escape this assault and run away. That's what it seems. It seems then that she was shot as she was running away in the shoulder. She found a place to hide in the abandoned ruin of the old country club. She was probably thinking if she could hide long enough, she could get away later. She was likely trying to be as quiet and as small as possible as the killer hunted her down to shoot her again. Imagine trying not to breathe too loud, even though you've just been shot. Adrenaline is coursing through your veins, making you shake uncontrollably, and you're anxiously trying to be as still and quiet as possible. In the cold and dark, Judy had desperately run for her life. To Clem Hamilton, the reporter, the reason for her murder was being too independent and being a loner, though. No, we know that the reason for her murder was the murderer. What was he doing out so late? What was he wearing? Who encouraged him to use a gun? Who taught him that women were to be used, abused, and killed and discarded? In another area of the building, there was evidence of the first shotgun blast. This may have been the site of the sexual assault as well. Judy had flecks of paint from this room under her fingernails. She must have run from there, out and around the building, and back into another area of the building, looking for a place to hide. Who could have done this? Who was on the loose in the Dayton area in 1975? It's not Eugene William Gall, Jr. He was still incarcerated for a series of Lima area rapes in 1970. Ohio released him early in April of 1977, though, and in October of that same year, he abducted a child, Beth Ann Moat, from Dayton. Gall sexually assaulted little Beth Ann. He then tied her to a tree and stabbed her in the chest. Gall is serving life without parole still in 2025 in Ohio for Beth Ann Moat's murder and other murders as well. I've written quite a bit about him. If you want to look up the video on Eugene William Gall Jr. Or videos about Beth Ann Moat and Lisa Jansen. Those are videos I've made as well as blog posts. This murder of Judy Kanter doesn't seem to be the work of serial killer Ralph Richard Howell. He was recently linked through DNA and genetic genealogy to the murder of Cheryl Perkins. She was from Cincinnati. He's strongly suspected in the murders of many other women, including Victoria Hinscher. Her name on her gravestone is Victoria Ushniat, Uchniat, and it's that same name in Find a Grave. If someone's looking for her, she was reported in the paper to be Victoria Hinscher, and I'm not sure if they put her maiden name on her gravestone or a married name, but it's difficult to find her under the name Victoria Hinscher. Nancy Ann Theobald is also thought to be a victim of serial killer Ralph Richard Howell. Howell delivered bulk newspapers for a major Cincinnati newspaper and used the cord that bound those bundles of papers together to strangle his victims. Ralph Richard Howell died in 1985, but he was connected in 2019 to that murder of Cheryl Perkins. And then the same cord was used, I believe, in those other murders. That's why investigators believe that he killed other women as well. Larry Ralston was also a very active serial killer at the time. He was more of a Cincinnati-based area killer, and his victims were generally acquaintances that he met at parties and other teen hangouts. So who was it? Was this yet another Ohio serial killer from the mid-70s? I'm starting to think that's possible. Another young woman, Deborah Rubenfeld, was murdered in Dayton in 1972. Deborah Rubenfeld was last seen at a gas station phone booth on Xenia Avenue. Deborah had traveled to Ohio from New York State. She had been attending Antioch College in Yellow Springs, Ohio. That's just outside the Dayton area. But she had dropped out. She and her boyfriend, Ronald Poochie Hughes, had been staying with friends here and there. They were living a sort of hippie lifestyle like a lot of young people did in the 1970s. The two did not have a permanent address. The newspapers reported that they were part of a drug scene, but that may or may not be true. They also might have just been smoking a little bit of pot. Her boyfriend, Ronald Hughes, was arrested for failing to pay a hotel bill. Deborah was there in the phone booth on Xenia Avenue calling around, trying to raise $50 for bail. And then Deborah Rubenfeld disappeared. Her body was found in a wooded area near the Central State Sewage Treatment Plant off of Clinton-Wilberforce Road. That's outside of Dayton. Her murder is still unsolved. I'll be posting a longer article and video about Deborah Rubenfeld soon. There was another young woman who was dragged into an abandoned house, sexually assaulted, but this time stabbed instead of shot. This seems very related to the murder of Judy Kanter. This victim was Mrs. Cindy Rader. She was 17. She was abducted on her morning walk to work in Dayton on January 3rd, 1975. Cindy Rader was sexually assaulted and stabbed in this abandoned house. And her murder is also still unsolved. Judy Kanter probably would have followed her sister off to college. She was working and saving for her future plans. She was a very bright, ambitious, and creative young woman, and she deserves to still be here. Rest in peace, Judy. If you have a tip or any information in Judy's case, please use the link. I'll post it in the comments to the Ohio Cold Case website that is sponsored by the Ohio Attorney General. Each case has its own separate link, so the link I will post is for Judy Kanter's specific case, and you can submit tips there. Thank you so much for listening to the video today, for thinking about Judy Kanter here and the other victims. Every view is very much appreciated. If you're subscribing, thank you so much as well. And if you hit the like button, the thumbs up button, you're not liking this terrible murder that happened to Judy. But you're saying, I like to think of it as thumbs up for justice. The more attention these videos get, likes, subscriptions, shares, if you share the video, the more attention they get, the more likely these are to get solved. Cases that get attention are cases that get solved. So thank you so much if you're sharing, subscribing, liking, viewing. I really appreciate it. I think our little community here, I think we can solve some cases. We're up to 191 subscribers now, and each and every subscriber, I'm always surprised and shocked that anyone is subscribing, but I thank you all very much the same. I think we're going to have some success here soon on some of these cases. I hope you have a good day. I hope you're kind to someone and that someone else is kind to you. Thanks for listening.